Hi, Joseph. Thank you for your submission. I think you have a solid course and you have a really good handle on what you're trying to accomplish. And you do have the low motivation, and that's always a challenge. But you also have an opportunity for engagement in community that probably be a payoff for them and for you. And it'd be a good job of balancing a course that is, from a student end, seen as a must do as opposed to an opportunity or elective. And I think there are some tweaks that you can make, and then we'll look here in a moment at the rubrics that are going to address some of the motivation issues, possibly. Here's one tip before we jump into that. I like to get iterative feedback from my students right after the first week or two of class. If it's an 8 week, no later than the second week. And if it's a 16-week course, usually about week 2 or 3. But I just ask them a couple questions. What's going well? What's not going well? What do I need to know that's not being asked? And or I'll shoot them a picture of a traffic light, red, yellow, green. Say, hit reply with a color and tell me why that color. And so it helps me to know if I've got a class of 20 and I've got, 12 greens and a couple yellows and 1 or 2 reds, that things are going well. But if I'm seeing a lot of reds and yellows, I don't want to wait to the end of the course, right, to fix that. What can I do right away? If everybody's disconnected because there's not engagement, well, maybe I can put a link to a Padlet or some other discussion forum or drop a voice thread in there as an augment to one of my assignments and address that issue as opposed to waiting for the next time to redesign the course. So let's take a look at your reviews with the QCTIP. Again, I can tell it's a strong course. Accessibility, we're all there, and you can always partner with your Office of Disability Services because there are for Word, PowerPoint, PDFs, or templates. Usually your LMS has an accessibility checker, and often your LMS has a template to use that already has accessibility built in that would be work for a screen reader. So that's one step that you can take there. Class discussion, engagement, and community do seem to be an area that you addressed, and then you also identify here in the rubric. Some things that you can think of are, if I am a student in your class, why am I here beyond the perfunctory reason that I need to credit and want to get out of here? But how are some of the course content and interactions going to make my life better? Not necessarily my academic portfolio, but how is this going to make me make decisions and be a more aware of my world? Most of us are excited and have an investment in education. We just don't see the connection, and you kind of have your Sherlock Holmes hat on here and are looking for not just discussion and engagement and community, but how do you address the type of student that is in your class and make this content connect with them. We want to connect with people. We want to connect with our content. We want to connect with the instructor, right? So what are some ways to do that? And let's take a look at your other rubric. Okay. And there is nothing here that was a red flag at all. And I appreciate your comments here. I think you have a really good handle on your course. And not everything needs to be tweaked, right? Not everything can be overhauled either. But there are things that you can look at that might give you more bang for your buck, so to speak. And I notice it's not applicable for real world activities and applications, if you will, but I'm wondering, maybe not necessarily through case studies or problem-based activities, although that might not be a bad approach, but it's a lot of fun sometimes to approach this topic from another view. Not so much what do I have to learn, but how would learning this benefit me in my Facebook posts, my Twitter reading, reading the newspaper, having a conversation, and hanging out with my friends. And I think there could be some real world application there. So that might be one area that we don't necessarily want to overlook too hastily, because I think that would be an opportunity. You seem, you communicate really well in an online space, and you seem very passionate about what you're doing. And I think that's something that you may not want to write off too soon. I think you do have some opportunities there. Figuring out how to respect that for a safe space. One possibility would be Just to have 3 or 4 rules of engagement, if you will, or even ask the student, what are some rules of engagement we could have for a discussion, but not turn this into a flaming Facebook or Twitter or Instagram rant, right? And that might give them some agency and get them involved if they feel like they can create and be part of a space that's safe, but also they get to design the environment as well. So that's another possibility there. But overall, I think you have a real good handle on this course, and I hope that this feedback has been helpful.